So, how does a company go from being the undisputed king of technology to a total dinosaur, and then somehow rise again to become the most valuable company on the entire planet? Well, let's dive into the absolutely incredible story of Microsoft's survival, reinvention, and ultimately, conquest.
You know, it all starts right here, back in 1975, with a prophecy that sounded completely out there at the time. You've got two college dropouts, Bill Gates and Paul Allen, and they have this vision. See, they weren't going to build the machines themselves. No, they were going to build the brains inside them, the software that would really architect the entire digital age.
And for decades, wow, did that vision pay off. The first real masterstroke came in 1980. Instead of just selling their MS-DOS operating system to IBM for a one-time fee, they licensed it. Now, this might seem like a small detail, but it meant they collected a royalty on pretty much every PC sold across the globe. They were effectively creating a tax on the entire industry. This whole strategy just exploded with the launch of Windows 95, cementing them as the undisputed kings and causing revenue to surge from $1 billion in 1990 to an incredible $23 billion by the year 2000.
But you know what they say, with great power comes great scrutiny. And the undisputed king of tech was about to seriously lose its way. This next period is what people now call Microsoft's lost decade.
So the trouble really kicked off when the US government sued Microsoft for monopoly practices, specifically around its Internet Explorer browser. And this wasn't just some lawsuit, it was a massive legal battle that dragged on for years, and it just completely drained the company's focus and its innovative spirit. They became defensive, not inventive. And that defensiveness, well, it led to one of the biggest blunders in corporate history. When the very first iPhone was released, the CEO at the time, Steve Ballmer, he literally laughed at it. And that single moment, that laugh, it just perfectly captures how Microsoft, this absolute giant, was completely blind to the mobile revolution that was about to change, well,
And listen, it wasn't just mobile. While Microsoft was so busy protecting his Windows empire, it missed wave after wave of innovation. Google came in and just dominated search. Facebook, of course, took over social media. And Apple and Google became the new kings of mobile, leaving Microsoft completely in the dust.
And the cost of all those mistakes was just staggering. For more than a decade, while you had companies like Apple and Google whose valuations were just skyrocketing, Microsoft's stock price went absolutely nowhere. I mean, they were still rich, sure, but they had become irrelevant, a dinosaur. But then came the pivot. In 2014, a new CEO, Satya Nadella, took the helm, and he kicked off what might just be the most successful corporate turnaround in modern history. And he did it all by looking to the clouds.
What's so fascinating is that Nadella saw the core problem not as a tech problem, but as a culture problem. Microsoft had become a company full of know-it-alls. His whole mission was to transform it into a company of learn-it-alls, a place focused on empathy, collaboration, and just continuous growth.
Okay, so this new culture led to a totally radical new strategy. Cloud first, mobile first. And then Nadella did the unthinkable. He took Microsoft's crown jewel, the Office suite, and he put it on Apple's and Google's platforms. This was a massive signal that Windows was no longer the center of the universe. The customer was.
So the new center of the Microsoft universe became Azure, their cloud computing platform. This was the new engine. The company shifted its entire business model away from selling you a software license one time to a subscription model. That meant continuous value for the customer and, for Microsoft, a steady stream of recurring revenue.
And to fuel this new engine, they went on a really strategic buying spree. They bought LinkedIn to basically own the world's professional data. They bought GitHub to win back the hearts and minds of software developers. And they even bought Minecraft to capture the imagination of the entire next generation of creators.
So what was the result of this massive pivot? A financial explosion. By 2022, Microsoft's revenue hit $198 billion. To put that in perspective, that's nearly 10 times what it was at the absolute peak of its PC dominance back in 2000. Yeah, the pivot was working.
And this massive cloud foundation, it did way more than just generate revenue. It perfectly positioned Microsoft to not just catch the next big wave, but to actually create it, the AI revolution.
While pretty much everyone else was still trying to figure out generative AI, Microsoft made a huge, aggressive bet. They invested over $13 billion into OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT. And in doing so, they secured exclusive rights to weave this transformative technology into their entire product line, from search to Office to all their cloud services.
And they didn't stop there. Their ambition hit a totally new peak with the $69 billion acquisition of the gaming giant Activision Blizzard. This wasn't just about video games, it was about conquering a massive new entertainment market and owning the building blocks for whatever the metaverse becomes.
So, where does all of that leave them? Well, today, Microsoft is not the Windows company anymore. Not at all. It's an AI infrastructure company. And after that long-lost decade in the wilderness, it has reclaimed the title of the world's most valuable public company, with a valuation of over $3 trillion.
I mean, when you really look at the entire journey, from a garage to a monopoly, from a laughingstock to a cloud and AI sovereign, it is nothing short of a masterclass in corporate survival.
You can really break down the whole story into 4 distinct eras. First, you've got the PC era, built on that brilliant licensing strategy. Then, the stagnation era, where they were just focused on protecting Windows. That was followed by the cloud era, the huge pivot to subscriptions. And finally, today's AI era, which is being fueled by these massive investments in intelligence and gaming. Each era has its own clear strategy, and each one is a new chapter in this incredible growth story.
Ultimately, Microsoft's story just proves a really powerful lesson. Just having money or a huge market share, it doesn't guarantee your survival. True long-term success requires this immense courage to let go of the very things that once made you successful, to, in a way, kill your old self in order to build your future.
And that brings us to a final, pretty provocative question. As we look at the dominant tech companies of today, Apple, Google, Meta, what comfortable, successful parts of their business must they have the courage to kill to survive and thrive in the next era of technology?